R.I.P. Tom Benson. Shout out to the whole Who That Nation. Now who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. Oh, who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. I got that fever, my people. See, we not equal, my people. I'm like that dog saint underneath the steeple, my people. Got Drew Brees, he the feature, and our defense the sequel. The D-line and linebackers, man, they coming to reach ya. Make enemies some believers, cause we overachievers. DBs see 50-50 balls and we call them keepers. Y'all come follow this leader, cause Sean Payton will teach ya.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Another NewOrleans.Football podcast coming to you live from the Better Call Badeau podcast studio presented by Sant CPA. Big day for the Saints. First day of the offseason, really. The first big day of the offseason, really. Rather, franchise tag, deadline day. The Saints didn't do anything there. They let it pass. Did not put it on Marcus Williams. Did not put it on Terron Armstead. We're going to talk about this. Talk about Mike Thomas, talk about just a ton of stuff, everything that happened at the combine. So we got a big action-packed show for you guys today. I'm Nick Underhill. I run NewOrleans.Football. I'm joined by my guy, Kevin Washington. Kevin, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? You know, I finally come to terms with my demotion, so I'm feeling good about that. You know, we hashed a little bit out. You know, it's all good, man. It's all good. I feel good to be back. You know, it's like we had, you know, we was gone for a week, and
Yeah, it feels like a long time.
yeah, I just feel like this is like the only time I see you too. So, you know, you look like a little older now.
Sure.
You know, like the draft is wearing on you. The
Sure.
NFL offseason is taking its toll. But no, man, it's good. It's good to be here. It's good to be here. Thanks for asking. So now I'm taking over. Guys, by the way, before we get started, NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. There's a lot of content on the site. Usually I don't come in at the start like dropping the website plug. You guys know how I go, but like literally there's like a ton of draft content there. Basically, you know, how they choose their prototypes based on the previous years and how they were choosing guys that they wanted to draft using, I'm not going to say the metrics because you guys need to read the article, but you know, they got some information in there about how they choose those guys, different scenarios and how they're going to play out in the off season. It's just content, man. It's content. It's football content. It's relevant and it's interesting. So just go check it out. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking a lot. I'm just asking you to go sign up, you know, pick a tier, make it happen. So that's what I got to say about that.
Also, are you a business owner needing some guidance with your daily accounting? Sant CPA can help get your finances in order. They provide relevant accounting information, detailed analysis, and clear communication in a timely manner. Call today, 318-321-2765, or visit santcpa.com. And look, just a real life plugs, my guy.
Here we go.
My guy got my taxes down like $18,000 or something lower than was expected. So yeah, hit him up. He's a wizard. Just hit him up. That's all I'm gonna say. You want to save money, hit him up. Like for real, I use him. He's the best there is. Tell him we sent you.
Who doesn't want $18,000? I mean,
yeah. And if you get in a car wreck and you need $18,000, if you need legal help with any of the following: car wrecks, offshore injuries, 18-wheeler collisions, Maritime and Jones Act, hurricane and storm claims, you better call Badeau at 504-323-4777 or 985-677-1085 for your free consultation and case review. BadeauLaw.com, and check out our guys at Firehouse Subs, Veterans Boulevard location in Metairie. You head out to the mall, hit them up, go over there, do your shopping, support our guys because they support us.
Appreciate our sponsors. Check them out. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate chat, by the way. So seeing some people, seeing some familiars in here, seeing some names I don't think I've seen before. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us. And man, let's just jump into it. So let's start with Marcus Williams. The Saints didn't franchise tag him. Just your take on it. Like, what do you think that means? Does that mean like, okay,
let's start here. It's a choice. You know, I've been I don't even know why I have these conversations, but it's a choice. They could have created the cap space to tag him if they wanted to tag him. It's a
Yep.
matter of math. It's choices. Do you want to do it? Do you not want to do it? And they decided not to do it. Last year they're 100 million over the cap. They decided to do it. They did it. They kept him. So those are choices. We've shown the ways that they can clear the cap space to do everything that they want to do. And
Right.
again,
Right.
it's a choice. So they chose not to tag him. My thing on it is I expect him right now today. If you ask me to make a prediction, is he going to be on the team or not? I would say no.
Pew, out of there. Same here.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of my take on it. Do I agree with it? No, I do not. I think he's one of the better safeties in the NFL. I've been firm on that for a long time. I think that he's going to go out and get the 16, 17 million dollars, 15, 16, 17 million dollars that shows he's one of the best safeties in the league, and he'll continue to play like one. And frankly, I think that he's an important part of the team. And if he goes, I think they'll miss him. I won't condemn it until I see what plan B is. Maybe plan B is fine. Maybe there is an adequate plan B, and there's a way out of this to maintain at least a reasonable level of play at that position. Maybe it doesn't touch what Marcus Williams could do, but maybe you're in the realm of where it's okay. And maybe Peyton Turner comes back and your pass rush is a little bit better, and just all the pieces around it come together and you can maintain and perform at the same level. I will give them the time to see that happen. But I think if Marcus Williams is not on this team, it's something where I'm going to be looking at him funny until they give me a reason to not look at him funny, because I think he's that important to the team. And you know, um, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my take on the whole thing is wrong, and we'll see how it progresses. And there's a better path forward. We'll see. But I mean, right now I'm uncomfortable with the idea of him not being a member of this team, and I think odds are if he gets that 15, 16, 17, he's out of here. And I don't think it's going to be hard for him to find that kind of money somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good take on it. I fall into the same ballpark. I mean, you have this young, what is he, 25, 26? I mean, he's young. He's young. He's available, right? You drafted him, you developed him, and you franchise tagged him. So it would just suck to see that, someone that you put so much in, a player that you put so much into.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you draft a guy in the second round, like Marcus Williams is like, I mean, if you draft the guy in the first round and he turns out like Marcus Williams, that's a home run hit, right? But to get it in the second round, yeah, I mean, it's definitely that's preferable. And so it definitely makes you, kind of look at it and say, like, what's the reasoning? Is it financial? Do they not think that, you know, the safety, do they not think that it's worth that much to spend on the safety, right? Or is it just because of other cap reasons? Or do they think they don't need him? They can fill him with another position on defense? A few different reasons, right? We don't know which one it is. I'm pretty sure they'll never be honest about it. But yeah, it just sucks. It just sucks, right? And so, that would be a big position to fill on this defense. And I think your defense is not as good without Marcus Williams, plain and simple, right? I think once you lose him, your defense has well, I don't want to say it doesn't have a choice, but you got to, and I guess this will segue into the next topic, but, it can potentially take a step back. Now, a certain New Orleans native saw that he may have been rumored to be linked to New Orleans Saints, and he, subsequently replied with 2 fire emojis. And we're talking about the honey badger. And just what's your take on, if they lose Marcus and they bring him in, what's the reasoning behind that? Schematically, philosophically, what are they thinking about making a move like that, or potentially, maybe switching out safeties? Like, what's the reasoning behind something like that if it was potentially to happen?
Yeah, if.
If.
I think maybe the difference between the two players, and you kind of put me on the spot here because I haven't really done like a deep analysis of Tyrann Mathieu, but I think the thing that immediately comes to mind is that they're just two different types of players, and I think one's more dynamic, more directly impactful, more down to down visually involved in plays, and that would be Mathieu. Whereas I think a lot of Marcus's contributions are a little bit more silent, and they're similarly impactful, but maybe not as dynamically impactful. So that would be the difference between the two. And I think if you went to Honey Badger and you paired them up, I think you're giving up some range, obviously. And
Oh
you know,
yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah,
the way
yeah.
you play changes a little bit, and it's more. I mean, and they play a ton of two anyhow, too high. But I think you know, it would have to become even more of that. But I think you'd be a more dynamic defense, and you'd have more playmakers on the field. And I say that, but Marcus had a good amount of interceptions and pass breakups, you know, recently too. So it's
He's
it's just
everything, man.
I just
He's
I
so
just think
good.
everything becomes a little bit more interchangeable, and you can disguise probably even more with Honey Badger. And you know, I think it would change the defense. Would it be better? I don't know. I mean, you know, I'd be skeptical of that. I think Honey
Mhm.
Badger's a great player, and he's, you know, what is he, like 30, 31? He doesn't look
He's
like
actually I just looked it up, he's 29, that's what I was just looking at. He turns 30 in May 13th, so he'll be
okay.
30 when the season
But
starts.
he doesn't it feels like he's been around forever, but he doesn't look like he plays like a 30-year-old guy. Like he's still like
Yeah, yeah.
like a young, vibrant, speedy, impactful player. And I think
Mhm.
he could do a lot. But I think he
Yeah.
would be significantly cheaper than Marcus. And
Mm.
look, I mean, here's the thing. Like a lot of this is going to end up getting shaped through a conversation of the cap if Marcus or Terron go. And look, I think again, same bet. Hey, is Terron going to be on the team next year? My guess would be no right now. We can circle back to him in a minute, but I I think I think a lot of this stuff gets tied to the cap, and it's an impossible conversation to have because when they tagged Marcus last year, the immediate reaction is, "Oh my God, they're tagging this guy. They're 100 million over the cap. How irresponsible!" And then this year they don't tag him, and it's, "Oh my God, they didn't tag him. Cap issues." And it's just like, which way is it? Like, if you let your players go to have cap space, you have cap space. If you keep your players, you don't
Don't
have
have
cap
that
space.
space. Yeah.
And it's just a year to year decision. This is a decision this year where they decided not to do it, and odds are he's probably not going to be a member of the team. And
Yeah.
okay, I mean, it's just kind of the way it goes. And I do think at some point they're going to stop pressing on the gas to be 180 miles per hour, and they're going to let off a little bit to go 120. And when you're going 120, you aren't carrying all the same passengers. And that's just the way it's going to be, I think, for the next couple of years. I think they're going to try to clean up some of the cap. I think that you'll see different decisions with different guys. I don't think that they're necessarily going to go you know, I think that there's just going to be a willingness to take on like Tehran's dead money hit, and just fine. Okay, they do it. Whereas in other years, I think they would have tried to get ahead of that and spread it back out and stop it from hitting. And
Mhm.
that's a little bit of a difference this year in the way that they're going to manage the cap. I think that you probably won't see them restructure somebody like Cam Jordan again because where he's
Mhm.
at in his career. And
Yeah,
here's the
yeah.
thing, like letting Marcus go, it just seems to me, if you look at that one, they felt one way about him and now they don't feel the same way. And I kind of feel like that's more about a feeling of the situation, or maybe the type of defense you want to play. Maybe there's a difference. We got to see step two to this because step one doesn't make a lot of sense right now. So what's step two? What's it? You know, at some point they're going to show us what they're thinking through their actions, and then we can analyze it. Then the thing with Terron, he's going to go out. He's going to get
Teron Matthew or Teron Armstead?
Armstead,
Okay, because
Armstead.
I was still on Honey Badger. I
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
Honey Badger take before you go to Armstead.
Armstead. So the thing with Armstead is, again, I think he's going to be able to go out. I think he's going to find 20 million. He's going to take it and he's going to leave. And I don't think the Saints are going to pay him that. And here's the reason why the Saints aren't going to pay him that. It will be a cap decision if they don't pay him, but not in the traditional sense of they can't afford to pay him, because they could find a way to pay him if they wanted to. But the thing is when you're as tight to the cap as they are, you can't afford to have dollars spent that are not on the field every single week, because you don't have the money to build the depth behind it. So when you're spending money, you need to get a dollar for dollar value every single week. And when Mike Thomas isn't playing for a year, it kills your team because you don't have the guys to play behind him. So
Two
that's where
years.
the cap decisions hit you in, and you're making a cap decision because you need to spend money on players that you can guarantee are going to be on the field. They aren't at a point where they can do that with Armstead. And that's why he's not tagged. That's why he's going to probably test the market. And that's why somebody that can't afford to have that backup plan, the contingency plan to pay somebody that might play 13 games instead of 17, he's going to probably end up there and get that top money in the league if that's what he desires. And That's how the cap is going to affect him on this decision. It isn't going to be, oh my God, they have no space, they can't pay these guys. They could, but it's just the squeeze is on in certain areas, and you have to make those decisions to make sure you can field a competitive team. And if you can take that 20 million and you can spread it out and you can, get your 2 wide receivers that you need, it might just be a better allocation of resources given where they're at with their financial situation.
Do you think if COVID didn't flatten the cap for a couple of years, they'd still be thinking the way they may be thinking now?
Yeah, it'd be a little bit. You got a little more. You got more room. Yeah, absolutely.
So you think they would try to sign those guys if COVID didn't come through and wreck everything, or do you think that they would probably still?
I think Armstead would be a more likely return. I know they want both of them back. I mean, they do, but I think there's a willingness. Look, man, you could tag Marcus at a price, and that's well below what he's going to get on the market.
Yeah, that's my thinking. It's just like, why not tag him and say, hey, bro, like, you can take this money now. If you, what's the average of the 2 tags, right? I'm pretty sure
I think I just don't see the value there. Whereas I think with Armstead, they probably would extend themselves a little bit further because I think he's still
a pillar of this locker
room.
Yeah,
and he's held in that regard. He's talked about in that regard behind scenes. He's talked about his leadership behind the scenes. It's just, I will say that if the COVID season didn't happen, I think that they'd have a little bit more flexibility with their cap, and there might be slightly different decision. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's just me guessing. I'm not like,
reporting anything here.
Right.
Yeah, it is. I think just it's hard to see. I mean, it's hard to see like good players leave, right? I think that's part of it. And when you look at a team, the Saints, on one hand, you could say they're ready to compete now, but on the other hand, I think there is a case to be made that there are some significant pieces that are missing, and I don't think that's like major news or nothing like that. And so, but I understand the Terron one, I really do, because I think availability is important, and I've been pretty vocal about my. I'm a Terron fan. It's just I just think I had him as the best player on the team. I think he still probably is he's the best player on the team at what he does, right? He just doesn't do it enough. Unfortunately, he stays hurt, right? And so I understand that. And you're dealing with him, he's a little older also, right? And so you think about the age, you think about the availability, you think about a few items, and you say, okay, well, yeah, we can stomach letting this guy walk, even though it's going to leave a gaping hole on the left side of the offensive line, or the right, whatever happens with Ramczyk, which Ramczyk agent must have foresaw this because he put that left tackle.
I don't think he'll move.
Okay, that's probably the best thing, actually. But it's in there though, so we'll see. But I'll take your word at it. But like I said, not to just hamper on this one, but the Marcus one is just a tough pill because, again, he's young and he's healthy and he's available, and he's been like he's probably one of the best safeties in the league by far. And so, but we'll see, right? Free agency starts on the 16th of this month, so that is a week and a day from now. So I guess next Wednesday we will. I guess then they got the tampering period. It's been complicated up until the point. I don't know the exact day of the tampering period. The tampering period starts or whatnot, but I know officially free agency starts on the 16th, if I recall correctly. So a week from now, a lot of these answers are going to be, a lot of these questions are going to be answered, and I think we'll talk about them, and you guys will have to wait a little bit longer because the pod is on Tuesday, and free agency is on Wednesday, but the people that are subscribed are going to get the Wednesday hot take. So I'm just saying, man, if you're looking for like you ever had some pizza and it's like right out the oven and it just tastes like amazing, but then you reheat it up or something and it's just like not the same.
Sure.
That's how you want your news to be. You want your news like hot out the oven, the bottom still crispy. I just had pizza, so that's why I'm mentioning pizza, homemade pizza. But so yeah, we'll see. And then I don't want to go too deep into Tyrann Mathieu because he's not a Saint yet, but the fit and where he is, and I think there's some crossover with him and CD in some ways. And I think there's a guy, and I think like 3 weeks ago on the pod, we were talking about free agencies. I mentioned the safety from the Jets who towards Achilles, and I think he'll be a free agent. So that might be someone that they take a look at and say, all right, well, 1 year deal for this guy, right? So there's some options out there, but ideally, you would definitely like prefer to have Marcus back. So we'll see what happens with that. So more kind of staying on the free agency train here. It was reported that the Saints have interest, right? And I'm not even here to like over speculate about the report. I just want to just kind of hit on the player real quick, just because it's fun and it's fun to speculate. But Jimmy G, right? So they looked at him and it was reported out there, and I'm like, Jimmy G, like, that, not that exciting, but you know what? Let's just talk about it. I had some people tweeted me about it. People asked me about it, what my thoughts on it. And I'm like, well, if you want my thoughts, you want Nick's thoughts. So what's your take on forget about the rumor, right? Forget about the rumor.
I mean, the rumor came from a former NFL executive, from a reporter that,
Yeah, that's why I said that's why I said forget about the rumor, because it's like I'm not putting much stock into it at this point. But just the player, right? Just to, how would you feel about that? Like, if you had to choose between him and Teddy, who would you choose?
I mean, he's getting surgery, so I'd go with Teddy. I mean, you gotta have somebody playing. You gotta have someone that's healthy early in
All
the
right.
season.
Is it because of health only, or is it because like just fit?
I mean, that's
Like,
part of the the whole equation right now, though. So I mean, it's impossible to separate it. I mean, if he's getting this shoulder surgery, and then does he come back? Is he the same guy? How long does it take? Is he ready for the start of the season? All this, it's too many questions for somebody that is, in that tier with all those guys. I think they're all kind of packed in there together, and you separate them from there. But like within that tier, if you're operating within it, I go with the guy that I know can play week 1.
okay. So with that said, I think you mentioned. Well, I know you mentioned in one of the articles that Jameis and Teddy are some of the options that I mean, because today it was like Rodgers out of there, Russ out of there. I don't think any one of those guys was realistically. I don't think that was ever realistically going to happen. To be honest with you, I don't know if like Russ saw Sean leave and the Saints are not on that list no more, or whatever happened there. But it wasn't even like. And I guess in the coming days we'll hear if other teams were in there. I think they said the Commanders offered 3 firsts, and that didn't work out, and so. But just when you look at the options on the board, right? When you look at Jameis and you look at Teddy, like if you're DA, you're a defensive coach, you think your defense can keep you in games. Like, is there a scenario where you prefer Teddy over Jameis?
Me? No, I don't. I mean, I think Jameis is a better player. I think he's more dynamic, has more upside. So no, I mean, no, I definitely don't. I mean, I think there's probably people that are huge Teddy fans that are still in that building though, and I get that. I mean, he was good leader, 5-0, played decently enough. So I mean, I get it. But for me, I think Jameis just has way more upside, and I'm still curious to see what he can do with a better structure around him. So I mean, that's something that I'd like to find out. As I said before, I think if you're painting a picture of him via his stats, and I think that's kind of something that's happened quite a bit in the NFL conversation at large. And I don't think that a lot of people. I don't want to say this and make it seem like I'm putting Jameis down, but I think a lot of people are just looking at the the Pro Football Reference page and kind of just forming a whole entire opinion off there. Where like I've said before, I don't think that I think his numbers were a little bit better than the tape, and I think with a better structure around him, there's a better leveling out of all that. But I just kind of think that's the reality of the situation. But I think he has tremendous upside, and I think there's a scenario where he looks as good as those numbers, and I'd like to see if he can get there. And I just think his upside is way higher than Teddy's.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think at the moment that's probably when I'm scrolling through chat. Look at this. Look what I deal with. You see what I deal with? I get this like all day. Wesley Coleman, Mr. Starter of the show, does Kevin still hate Jameis? Like, Wesley, get out of here with that, man. Like, nobody trying to hear that. I don't hate Jameis, man. I have nothing against Jameis. Like, y'all quit saying that. I talk about all quarterbacks equally. You know why? Because they none of them Saints right now. So I'm just trying to pick the best player for the team.
Do you
So
hate Jameis?
apparently I do, according to half of Saints Twitter. Because if you say Jameis made a bad throw, then you hate Jameis. I
Yeah,
remember
no,
Jameis.
you can't. No, you cannot have a conversation about this man at
Bruh,
all.
it's
At
like
all.
this guy
It's like
has
political
played
almost.
one season for the Saints, bro.
He
And
played 7 games. Yeah.
they didn't make the playoffs. And this guy somehow Drew Brees at the moment. And I'm just like, yo, like he's a guy with some potential, right? He has potential. He shows some good things. If you like go learn how to watch some all 22, and he showed a lot of bad. He showed a lot of bad and some good, right? And some certain things need to be worked on, some things he's good at, right? How much did he throw the ball over the middle of the field?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The NFL game is played in the middle of the field. College is played outside the hashes,
Yeah, it's just
right?
and like we've
It's
said
just like,
before, there's so many questions. Like, is that because of him or is it because of the structure? Like, all this stuff has to get figured out. But I mean, yeah, you can't.
these are open questions and they're based on the tape. They exist, right? And so, anyway, I'm not about to go on the James. Well, I guess I already went on the Jameis rant.
No, it was exhausting. Like, honestly, like just the
It's
conversation about him,
frustrating, bro.
it's exhausting. It is. It really is. And
It's
I
frustrating,
think
bro.
the people that support him almost.
It's a cult almost.
I
Like
get it. Like, no, it's not. I wouldn't
it's
go
like
that
a
far.
cult mentality, bro.
The point I was gonna make though is like sometimes I think that like just the constant volume of it like almost creates a situation where like sometimes I think they work against their own agenda. I also get the same point though, like where if things like and I think a lot of this exists because like so much went unchecked in the conversation about him veered so far one way that people like take it amongst themselves to kind of course correct the narrative. But in
Mhm.
doing it, like they're attacking people like when you're coming at me and I feel like I've been extremely fair to this person the whole entire
Yeah.
time. You're coming at me. It's just like, look, I'm not the guys in Tampa Bay. Like, leave me the hell alone. Like, and it just makes you annoyed. Like, it just annoys you because like, there's no animosity at all. Like, none of this
Yeah,
has anything to do
exactly.
with me. I'm just
Exactly.
trying to talk about the game. That's it.
And I'm like, I treat every player like they start at the same position, man. Y'all at the same starting line. And whoever wins the race wins the race. Like when I wanted Russ, there were people telling me, what about Jameis? Like, bro, don't talk to me about Jameis if Russ is on the table. Like, come on, man. Like,
Right.
like it's just like a little like it's just a little
Serious.
off.
Yes.
It's a little
Yes.
off. We're not having serious football conversations here. Like this is
Right.
a serious football podcast. We make like my take may be wrong, but it's based in fact and reality, right? And then some of this stuff, man. Anyway, you guys got to chill with it, man. And to be honest with you, I at this point, if you ask me who I wanted to be the Saints quarterback, I would say Jameis.
Yeah. Right.
But
Obviously.
somehow I hate the guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Y'all need to get him. I'm gonna just start blocking everybody that come in my into my mentions with like Jameis smoke, man, because it's like it's been going on for a couple of years, man, and it's played out. So, but I'm with you. I think that if I had to choose between him and Teddy, I would definitely go Jameis. Teddy, I think the thing about the way the NFL is now is like you have to be able to like generate explosive plays. Like we watched for years where the Saints were trying to, kind of just methodically move the ball down the field over the course of my camera keeps coming out of focus here. Let me fix that. Yeah, methodically move the ball downfield, like 3rd and 5 is like it's a big thing, right? And so the ability to just like score instantly, right? To have explosive plays, to go from your 30 to their 30 in one shot. I think like if you're a winning NFL franchise, I think you need that. And I think that's, just the fact that Jameis gives you that and Teddy doesn't, I think that alone almost, puts him in the driver's seat if I have to choose between those two quarterbacks.
Yeah. No, I don't. I think. Yeah. I mean, I'm taking Jameis every time.
Yeah. All the time.
Like out
So
of all the options available, yeah. I mean, he's the one guy that you might win you games, and
absolutely.
I don't think. I mean, I think there's games probably where Jimmy G like taps into something and he has like that fleeting upside, but obviously he's proven over time that it's not going to be sustained, and there's going to be crazy throws and things are going to happen. Teddy is what he is. The thing we need to see with Jameis is a larger sample size over time. Can he avoid the mistakes? He did it well for a little period of time, but
Yeah, can he
when there's
drive
more put
that?
on him, when there's a higher volume of throws, when he's more comfortable. Look, I think we've said this a million times. I think one of the things that protected him from mistakes was his discomfort with the guys he was throwing to, because I think he was waiting until they were open to let the
Yeah.
ball go. When he's comfortable, what
Yep.
does it look like? Once
Yep.
he's comfortable throwing with more anticipation, what's it look like? These are all the things we need to learn about him. And I want to see. I'm curious to see what it looks like, and it's
Yeah.
still a learning process. And
Yeah.
if they aren't
Yeah.
getting Russell Wilson, I'd rather spend the year learning more about Jameis than
Yeah.
just any of these other
Than
guys.
Teddy
Yeah,
or Jimmy G.
yeah.
Yeah. And this, I'm sorry. This is funny. This is hilarious to me. No, Nick. Kev is right. We are the cult of
No,
Jack
don't even
Booth.
put this on there, man.
All
No,
right, man. Let me leave it alone. That's funny, man. That's a funny comment. So, yeah, let's have fun with it, man. Let's have fun with it. We'll keep it
no,
moving.
because look, man, there is no having fun with it. Like,
I
there is
know
no
that's
having
probably
fun with it.
true.
Yeah,
It's all or nothing, bro.
everything's a slight. Yeah, no, it's not
It's
even
so
worth it.
binary. It's so
Yeah.
binary, man. Yeah, I will say this, and I've said this. I've said this before. And I'll continue to say it. I don't. And you just made a version of the same thing. I'm going to say is like I don't. I think we have an idea about. I mean, we know who Jameis is as a player for the most part, right? He's 28. He's been in the league for 5, 6 years, 7 years, right? You have a pretty good idea about who a guy is at this point in his career, right? But I do think, when you look at him in this offense and how we looked at him last year, I do think that there are still some questions there because, as you said, there's, I think Sean definitely probably was trying to keep him reined in on some level, and he's just throwing the ball to nobody. I mean, like I don't know. I think if you put Mahomes or someone in his office, he wouldn't look like Mahomes, right? Brady didn't look like Tampa Bay Brady his last year in New England, right? So any quarterback, if you take their weapons from them, they cease to be as good as a quarterback as they could be, right? And so I think that's like what I'm looking at and saying, okay, he played well at times with really bad weapons, right? And so if you put some talent in front of him, give him Mike back, if you can work on, and we'll get into the wide receivers coming up, then I think I'll know really how I feel about him after I see him in that situation, right? And I think that's a fair way to look at it, right? Like get a guy some weapons, bring him back. He'll know the system. Pete is here. He's familiar. And then we can really see if he's the guy for is he a
Yeah.
2-year Saints quarterback or is he the guy for the next, 6, 7 years? So, yeah, we'll figure that out. How do you think they should, and stand like, on a similar train of thought here, how do you think they should attack the skill position this offseason? Right? If it's like, hey, I'm Nick Underhill and I'm drawing this up, right? This is how I think they're gonna end up with the most success. And I'm not saying specific players because that's just like kind of like hard to do at this point. And I can go and pull up the free agents, and I already have it up, but I don't think that's necessary. But like what do you think is like? How would you attack it from a high level? Like, what do you think is the priorities here? Is it like shore up the O line more? Is it get some more weapons? Is it go all in and triple down on wide receivers, or like how do you think that they should look at getting past some of their offensive woes? Saying like maybe if Jameis is the guy or Teddy, right? One of those two, maybe.
Yeah. So I guess like I don't really expect them to do anything on the offensive line, even if Terron goes. Maybe there's a OT or something, but I don't know if it's going to be like pressing priority to do that. And I think they're rolling with Ruiz. Everything I hear is that he's in that spot. So I don't think that's going to change either. So I think that's just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
So working from there, I mean, I would think 2 to 3 wide receivers. Honestly, I think that they have to go out and they got to do that. Mike's coming back, obviously, but it's
Ooh,
still
but Mike locked in right now, bro. I don't know what they did to Mike. Did they give him a little money under
it's
the
crazy.
table? Mike
It is
did
crazy.
a 180, bro.
It's crazy. His whole thing is just like turned around. I've heard about some of the correspondences that he's having with people behind the scenes, and it's nicer and more cordial than it's been. Like I think it's like a real thing. Now,
Yeah.
does it last? Does it continue? That's a huge question. And we talked about this
Definitely.
last week, 2 weeks ago. Cody Burns has a huge job. Just making sure those good feelings
And
persist.
Mike
But
is seeing like he's coming in with the mind state of like, all right, like I'm locked in, like I'm buying into what they're selling me, et cetera. So
Yeah, like he's fired up about Matt Ray, the strength and conditioning
yeah, yeah. I
coordinator or
mean,
whatever it is, director of sports science. So I mean, he seems to be in amazing headspace. That's what you want. So that's a good thing. But look, I mean, I think they need to get to add at least two more. I think you got to get a running back. I don't think Tony Jones Jr. is it. Mark Ingram's coming back, but I think you need somebody else. Alvin's probably going to miss 4 to 6 games. They're kind of bracing for that. So that's where I would
you
go
got
on
one
offense
good
and
player,
and
one good offensive skill position.
and if a opportunity presents itself to get a tight end, I think you do that too. I mean, because
Hmm.
you don't have Travis Kelce, you don't have Jimmy Graham, and that can be significantly better.
Big
So
fish.
I think you're okay there. I think that you're okay rolling with what you got. But if you have an opportunity to do a little bit better, I think you have to do it.
At tight end, you mean?
A tight end.
Yeah. So you're saying that? So you think they should just maybe like kind of like lightly just get a running back to hold it down for like 6 games or something like that?
Well, I mean,
Um,
Ingram's, he's at a point in his career where the end is near. So, I mean, if you can get
Absolutely.
somebody to come in, spell, be number 3 this year and then number 2 next year, I think that's a good investment.
Mm, yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. I think they need someone there. I wouldn't mind them having someone who like don't not this player, right? Not this player. And guys, please just know this. But what was the running back that the Cardinals had? Johnson? Was it David Johnson? I
Hmm.
forget his name. But like not him in his prime, because him in his prime is, you know, one of the better run, but just someone who, kind of like a similar skill set, but not at that level because that's an all pro player. But just someone who you can, trust and pass pro. They can run the ball and they're a good enough wide receiver out the backfield that they're just not totally not there, right? And I just think like a middle of the pack veteran running back, someone that could hold the fort down for the first at the beginning of the season, right? And then when Alvin come back, then you can use them sparingly and even put them on the field together and kind of, I think that's the smart thing. So I wouldn't mind them seeing like I would be like if you take a running back and you spend $4, $5, $6 million at a running back. I think that's a smart. I think that's a smart investment for this team, given that I do think that running the ball is something that's going to be important for them. And I think adding another running back in that position and not having Alvin have to like carry the ball 20 times a game, I think that's a big need for this team. And if Ruiz is back, which, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of, but I'm not a coach. I'm not gonna, I'll give the guy a chance again, third straight year. But, I just think that, you're gonna need someone that can probably, make a guy miss or something, at least on some plays, because that's a little bit of a struggle position. Um, so you think most of the resources should be spent like getting a wide receiver more so than like any other position back there? Or do you
Oh
think like
man, yeah,
tight end,
they
two
need a
tight
whole depth
ends?
chart. They need a whole depth chart, man. Like it's not all of them. Like they need after one. You could have 4 if you wanted to, seriously, you
Mm,
seriously could. I mean, it's at that point. So I think 2 to 3. Two's
mm.
like, all right, like 3, like you really do need to get 3, but two's fine. You can get by with 2. But I mean, that's really where they're at right now. I mean, Hardy's a RFA even. So I
I mean,
mean,
I even think about that. That's like if he's gone, then bruh.
yeah, like
Like
so,
you
so they
gotta
need they
get
need a
him
lot.
back, bruh.
They
Man,
need
that's like this is like the worst. Like this is like, and you're right. Like they have to like double or triple up on this one position, right? I think it's going to be a combination. Well, I ideally it's a combination between like the draft and free agency, right? There's some
Yeah, they
guys.
got to get a good vet. They got to get a good vet just to safeguard in case something weird happens in the draft. So
What do you think about he's been like, because I was looking at wide receiver, free agent wide receivers, and I'm like, man, who could they get? Mike Williams out the thing. Chris Godwin, we know he ain't gonna be there. Devontae Adams not gonna happen. Allen Robinson, I think he washed, to be honest with you. Odell, Gallup going back to the Cowboys. So I was scrolling down and I forget the list. I can't find it because I wanted to give him credit. And I was like, Will Fuller. I was like, that's an interesting name, right?
It's all right. Yeah, I mean, look, anything you look. I'm not even going to get like picky at this point. Like anybody they add at that position, like it's just do something.
Every Henderson.
Yeah. It's like, in years past, you're looking at it and you're like, they need this guy, this guy, this guy's a better fit than that guy. Like after last year, just get somebody. Like I don't even care who they get, just get somebody because I don't want to watch this again. Like I cannot sit through another year of this. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. Like I don't want to watch that offense from last year again. Please go get some people because that way it was misery watching them. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like it was miserable watching that offense.
Denver.Football.
We ain't doing all that, but like we'll go cover the Breakers or something. Like I don't know, man. Like it was bad. Like it was bad, man. Like those games on Sunday, and it was really 2 years in a row that kind of offense. The year before you got it because they had all kinds of guys. Breeze just couldn't get the ball out anymore.
Yeah,
and
it was
last year though, I mean, it was just that was man.
that's bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, just get anybody.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get more specific at some point, but like just get anybody for real. Like
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think, like I said, I think it should be a combination of, looking at some of these guys like that are free agents, and I mentioned Fuller because I mean, if you bring Jameis, if you got Teddy, just don't even bring Fuller. Don't even look that way. That's just the wrong. I think that's the wrong player, right, for him. But if you're looking at, like if Jameis is back in there, then I saw Fuller. I'm like, man, and I mean, he's got availability problems, but man, you shopping at. You had Marshalls, you had Ross, you had Home Goods at this point, TJ Maxx, all these little discount stores. I mean, you got like the Balenciagas of the wide receivers. We know they all got franchise tag. You might look up and get like the Calvin Klein Express tier, but if it don't work out, man, you got to go to the resale, right? And so, that's what it may end up being. And so he was one of the guys I'm not saying to sign him, but I'm just thinking like a guy like that who's had some success in this league. It's kind of the same concept that I mentioned at safety with Marcus May, right? Like I said, I mentioned him a few weeks ago, and I'm like, yeah, he's a guy that has some range, who's been good, who suffered an injury, and he's a good player that you could you've seen him be good in the NFL, and with a defense like this, then you feel good about it. Same thing with Fuller. You've seen him play well. He's had availability problems, but he's a deep play wide receiver, and Jameis likes to sling it like 40, 50. Jameis, he likes to throw the deep ball, right? He likes to throw the football far as he can, right? And he's really good at it. Jameis' deep ball is that may be the best thing about his game, right? I mean, he can just throw a beautiful deep ball. And so just getting someone that can stretch the field is going to be important. And then, looking at some of these guys in the draft, it's too much talent in the draft. It's too much wide receiver talent in the draft for them not to walk away with a dog out of there in the first or second round. And if they don't, I'm gonna be hot. I'm like you. I can't watch this no more, bro. I'm fed up. I'm tired. I'm at my wit's end. You know what I mean? And so it's just exciting. Just it's exciting to see the team building phase of this, right?
Yeah, like it don't have to be a first round pick, but within the first 2 rounds, I mean, they got to.
Yeah, I mean, first two. If they don't get one of the first two, then like you might have to just like bring on triplet in here. Depending
on what they do in free agent, like look, they could plug the hole adequately enough in free agency where it just kind of is what it is. But
yeah, I get you. But that kid from Arkansas, I like him, man. You could play him anywhere. Get him down. He's like 225. Get him like Mike's weight. I like him. I mean, I just kind of start dabbling, looking at these guys, right?
He's a little slow, but yeah, I mean, I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I think I like him, man. I like him. I just think he needs to probably like, I mean, I think he was 6'2", 6'3", 225, ran a 4.55. I think just drop a little of that weight, bro. 225, that's big for a wide receiver. So like just get that down a little bit, especially for being how tall he is. And so you get that down, and it's like, man, you working with something. Same thing with some of these.
The weird thing about where they're at is that what kind of offense are they trying to run, and what kind of offense are they trying to run long term? Like, if Jameis is your long term quarterback, like you kind of probably like somebody a little bit more dynamic, honestly. Early get two mics, is great if that's the type of offense you want to run. It just depends what you want to do, and that's just kind of the weird thing about being in purgatory, but you can figure it out. I mean, you got two mics. I mean, you can make that work, and you're always gonna have somebody open on a backside slant somewhere. So
I think both of those guys, I wouldn't say that they're and disagree with me on this, right? Just don't let me slide if I'm saying some crap that ain't right. But
I'm not saying the dude's super slow either.
no, I know you're not. Yeah,
No, no,
yeah.
no. They're asking that in the chat. No,
Oh, yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
saying
yeah.
if you have someone you want to go deep with in a quarterback where that's going to be a primary part of your game, I'm looking at some of these 4-3 guys a little bit, in maybe hoping that you get one of them and
Garrett Wilson, I
you got
like
some
him too.
downfield body control and all that stuff, and you can take a little bit more advantage of that because you have Mike Thomas, and it's just kind of how do you want to put your weapons out there. But just get good dudes and figure it out from
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was gonna say, I think Mike. I think the same about Mike. Like, I don't think Mike. We obviously know Mike is a burner, but I think Mike can get on top of cornerbacks better than people think,
yeah,
just
he can,
because he was
but
with
he's
Drew.
still not. He's still not.
He's not a deep ball. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. But that's why I said you got to get more than one guy though. I mean, I'm looking for dimensions at this point, right? And so, I mean, let Jameson Williams fall. That dude's like electric.
Yeah,
I'll be cool with him sitting for a year. Take however long you need. So, yeah, I just want some speed on offense, man.
and they aren't at the
I
place where
just
dudes
want,
can sit for a year.
yeah.
They are not at that place.
Yeah, that's true. But like, if Jameson Williams is there, like, I would be cool. I'd be like, man, just get him ready. Like, just get him ready, right? I mean, I think he's that good that I'm just like, man, these ACLs are recovering so quick. I let him borrow my ACL for a little bit. I don't care, man. I don't need it. But I just want some explosive offense, man. I just want to see some 20, 30-yard passes. I'll take a few interceptions, Jameis. It's all good, man. It's all love. We just want some excitement, man. That's all it is. Because you was talking about it. You got me hype about it. You can't just watch that. It
No.
wears on you, bro. You age a lot faster when you watch offense like that.
Yeah, it's a lot less fun, man. It just really is.
Yeah, man. So, but listen, guys, we're gonna be covering all this stuff, man. Right now, it's kind of fun. This is like a super speculative pod, and it's the week before free agency. I mean, what do you expect, right? And the combine just happened, so
I like this thought right here on the screen. Trade for Lockett is a consolation Seahawk. I
bring
like
him in,
that
bro.
idea. I like that idea. Yeah, they
Give him a
seem to be getting rid
third.
of everybody. So
Don't we got a third? Don't we got an extra third?
yeah, I
Yeah,
like that idea. Yeah, no, that'd
yeah.
be great. Yeah, take care of it ahead of the draft.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, that'll be like a coup at the start. So you got Mike and Lockett. Like, you almost got like, you just need like one more average guy at this point, and that's like Lockett is like a borderline number one wide receiver when you think about it. Him and Metcalf are like 1 and 1A. So that's a really good recommendation. Yeah, I would like love that. Don't get me Angry Ocho. Don't be playing with me, man. I just want some good players catching the football. And then you get Alvin back with like some stuff like that, man. Now you're starting to build like layers of offense, man. It's some potential there, man. I think having Mike so checked in is a really big deal. And I think that
huge deal.
when you start looking at these other guys, like you say, are they number ones? But they don't have to be number ones because Mike Thomas is. And I'm starting
Right.
to kind of feel good about, like, I was a little, I had my little moments with Mike. I was like, man, I don't know if he, but like I'm feeling much better about it. So free agency can't come here fast enough. I'm pretty sure the Saints are gonna be, day 3, 4 free agency. So like guys are gonna start flying off. I know today, like Mike Williams, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, like 3 receivers already just like gone. But I don't think the Saints are like looking to spend that much on those guys anyway. So, there's gonna be the urge to panic. And I'm saying this to you guys because we'll see you before free agency start, but not after. But like, don't panic when like everybody's gone, because it's a long process, and it takes time to get through free agency. Free agency lasts like months. And so at least give it like a week and a half, and then we'll kind of know where they stand. So but all right, guys, that's gonna be it for us. NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. I referenced maybe without even saying it all the times, but I referenced some of the articles that are up on the site right now. I read them all. I read some of them twice because I enjoyed them so much, and I want to have a little bit refresher for the pod. Because there's some information in there, man. I'm being real. I'm not just plugging you right now. This really happened. Like, you really use Sant. By the way, Daniel Sant, CPA. If you need to get like 18,000 of your own dollars back for taxes, holla at Sant. If someone rear end you, it's not your fault, and you feel like you're gonna get cheated, you better call Badeau. right? And if you're hungry, you're on Veterans, Firehouse Subs. Those are our sponsors. We love them because they love us, and we're gonna be plugging them. And if you need us to slander your competition, we got that package too. So just holler at us. So thank you guys for supporting us. Chat. Appreciate you guys showing up. The Jameis lovers and the Kevin attackers. It's all love, man. We having fun in here. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. We out.